Illustrations by Pete.
Hello everybody, and thank you for clicking on another video. Today we're going to look at what happens when you mess something up. Now, I know a lot of people look on YouTube, they see artists on YouTube, they say, hey, these things look great, and it seems like everything they do just comes out wonderful. But the truth is, it's not always the case. So this is a video where I tried to record something went horribly wrong, and I actually look forward to those moments. I know a lot of people don't do that, but I do. Because it allows me some freedom. It gives me a chance. If something is messed up already, I'm not going to mess it up more. And usually in these types of things, that sky is where I stop. So I was going to do a landscape painting right here, and I probably should have stopped right about there and left that as my sky. And I decided I was going to put some more stuff in there, and started messing around with clouds and things. And some of them may have been looking okay, but I just kept adding and adding and adding. And the more you work something, the more you overwork something, and then eventually you ruin it. And sometimes that happens, and that's okay. So I wasn't upset at this. I encourage you that if you do mess something up, you use it as a time to just have some fun. And one of the well, you'll see what I did, but I was not upset when I did this. I was having fun. I was just relaxing. I was enjoying painting. And that's what I encourage you to do. So as you continue to watch this, just keep that in mind. I turned it into a little doodle. I don't know really what it was. I just put some texture on a page, and I don't know, at the end of it, it kind of looked like a little sea monster at the bottom of the sea, but maybe you see something else. I don't really know. I wasn't trying to put anything on the page, so well, you'll see. Now, do you usually put yourself under that much pressure when you're sitting down to do something? Here's why I usually feel pressure. I only get a certain amount of time every week to create art, and since I'm trying to record these videos, most of the time I'm recording things. I do sit down and just draw sometimes for fun, but for the most part, I'm going to record everything I do. If it turns out well, I might turn it into a video. If not, I won't. But this one did not turn out well. I decided to turn it into a video anyway. And so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just covering this whole thing with this Lunar Black from Daniel Smith watercolor. And that's a great color. It's very, very textured. It's granulating color. So there appears a lot of texture. And that's a great thing to experiment with, because granulating colors leave this weird texture on the paper that you can turn into all sorts of things. And that's exactly what I did here. You see some of the color comes through on the bottom because it lifts very well, but I was just having some fun with it and started to use some ink and draw little lines and textures, and I what appears to be an eye now from that point, and a mouth there, but before, I didn't really do that on purpose to draw an eye and a mouth. I was just drawing the texture that I saw on the paper. And so that's just happened to be what it looked like. But anyway, the point is, don't put so much pressure on yourself that every time you sit down to draw, it has to be a perfect drawing. And this is in a sketchbook that I love. It's a little bit more expensive. This is the Etcher sketchbook, so it's a little bit more pricey if you make a mistake, but so what? That's what that book is for. When you have a sketchbook, it's there to experiment with, it's there to put stuff in. It doesn't have to look perfect every time. You see these flip throughs and people have perfect art in them. None of mine are like that. Not one sketchbook that I have has perfect art from front to back, because I don't approach art that way. For me, everything that I'm doing is always an experiment, it's always an experience, and I'm just looking to do the best I can. Sometimes it turns out great, and sometimes it turns out like crap, and you just move on. You do the next one. And this one turned out like crap, so I just had some fun with it. I just put some texture on it and made it into a little doodle. So if there's anything I can encourage you with, it is to have fun with art. It should be a fun thing. It shouldn't be this high pressure thing. And a lot of times that's why I don't do commission work, because when someone asks you to draw something and you have to draw it, it's a lot of pressure. So typically I just do what I enjoy doing, and if it turns out good, it's a bonus. Look, I use a lot of different things. I jump around with art. I try different mediums, and I'm always trying something new. And I guess I like mixed media if you consider ink and watercolor mixed media, or sometimes watercolor with colored pencils or something. If you consider that mixed media, then I like mixed media. But I think it's weird because when someone actually says, hey, this is a mixed media piece, and they do some kind of clipping from a paper that they put on a page and they glue it there and then they put art around it, or they just clip random things out and they put them all together. I don't really like, I guess collage, and maybe it's called collage. I don't know, but they always call it mixed media work. And I don't really like that. It's not that I think anything's wrong with it. It's just not my thing. I don't see it and say, wow, that looks amazing. But I do, I guess technically I am a mixed media artist because I never, hardly ever, do I use just one medium. I'll do a watercolor painting or an ink drawing, but typically I don't use just one thing in my paintings and drawings. I'll add ink to watercolor, or I'll add even water-soluble pencils with ink and watercolor, something like that, markers with ink, that kind of stuff. I never just do one thing. It's typically, I say never. It's not true. I usually do not do something with just one medium. But it's just an idea. I would love to hear what other people think mixed media is. Is this really mixed media, what you're looking at now with the watercolor, with the ink? Is that considered mixed media, or is mixed media more where you're decorating things, like clipping things out and pasting them in a book and arranging them and then doing art around it and making it somehow all tie together? And I know some people who do that, and they're good at it. It's just not my thing. But let me know. I want to know your opinion on whether you think that this is mixed media art, or just if it's maybe, I don't know. I also think it's weird, and I'm not against it. Again, I'm not against anything. You do whatever you want to do and produce whatever you want to produce, and you're going to find an audience that agrees with that. You'll find someone who says, yeah, I like that. But when people do like stampings, and they have a stamp and then they just color it in, kind of like a coloring book, like what you do with a coloring book. You don't actually do the ink work or the pencil, the line work or anything like that. You're just doing the color. And I think, and that's a skill. You look at the comic book industry, that's a skill. Some people are line artists, some people are colorists. It's fine. But I just like to do all of it from the beginning to the end and do it myself, whether it's the line work, the color, whatever it is. I like to do it all myself. Anyway, so I encourage you, if you make a mistake in your art, whatever you're doing, don't get frustrated, don't get upset. Find a way to turn it into something else. Do some doodling. All I was doing there is just putting texture on a page. And it doesn't look pretty, and most people would probably not like it, but I like it because I did it, and I enjoyed it. It was fun for me. I was just having fun. So that's all I wanted to say. I just want you to enjoy what you do and don't put yourself under so much pressure all the time. You're a great artist, and you're going to produce things that are great sometimes and not so good other times. And don't get frustrated by it. Just enjoy the process. Well, I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, please subscribe. Thank you for clicking on the video, and if you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below. See you next time.